Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SA Accounting Academy. Here's a short clip on one of our previous webinars. I hope that you really do enjoy it.
Good morning, everyone. I'm hoping everyone had a good night's sleep and everyone is healthy and happy. So today we're having a very good and interesting webinar on strategic planning. I think it's a good time to have a webinar like this the beginning of the year. Well, technically a month after the beginning of the year, but it's good to have it right now. I think if there was a better time to place it, it would exactly be this time. So my name, maybe to begin with, my name is Bekithemba Ndebele. I am a member of the Chartered Certified Accountants, ACCA. I did my articles with an affiliate firm of Moore Stephens International. Back then, I finished in 2015 and qualified in 2016. Right now, I am a partner director at a local firm here called Zuba Financial Services. I've really had 5 years of audit experience, 5 years of private sector experience, and I covered industries in tourism in 4 countries, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Botswana, Mauritius, and Zambia. So I've been around. Today, we are, as I've already alluded to, we're talking about strategic planning. Maybe just some housekeeping rules before we begin. So if you have any questions during the webinar, you can type them in the comments box. Then I should be able to answer them right at the end of the webinar. Please confirm if you can still hear me. I just got a pop-up saying my internet has a problem. Okay, now that no one is complaining, then it means I can continue. Thank you very much all for coming in. So here are the things that we're going to look at today, and I'm hoping we'll be able to glean out of the webinar. We're going to understand strategic planning and control models used to plan and monitor organizational performance. First of all, we're going to understand what strategy is and how it fits in the organization as a whole. We're going to have the ability to assess and identify key influences on organizational performance, and also going to have the ability to identify and evaluate the design features of effective performance management, information and monitoring systems. We will also understand how to apply appropriate strategic performance measurement techniques in evaluating and improving organizational performance. And I'm hoping that we'll be able to also advise clients and senior management on strategic business performance evaluation and also on recognizing vulnerability to corporate failure. So now here is the tricky bit about this seminar. I know that here the audience is largely accountants, but accountants that are working in different fields. Some are working in audit and accounting firms, others are in the private sector, others are in the public sector, others are running their own businesses. So what I'm going to try to do is to sort of have one size fits all approach so that everyone all across the board can sort of glean something out of this. So first of all, let's ask ourselves, what is business strategy? Well, the textbook definition is that it is a direction and scope of an organization over the long term. So strategy is really what sets the business direction, what tells us where we are going. Somebody just wrote in 15. I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, I will proceed. So we said strategy is really sets the direction and the scope of the organization. And the idea is to achieve advantage in a changing environment. I want us to highlight the word advantage. The idea is to achieve advantage in a changing environment through the configuration of resources and competencies with the aim of fulfilling stakeholder expectations. So that really does put a lot of pressure on strategy managers, on managers as a whole. And as accountants, it is our role to allocate scarce resources to various projects in an attempt to achieve advantage or to achieve competitive advantage. And the underlying factor is that the environment that we operate under is changing. In 2019, the environment that we're operating under as South Africa is totally different from what we saw in 2020 and 2021. And probably what we saw in 2020 and 2021 may also be a little bit different from what we're seeing today. So strategy happens within an environment that changes. Long-term direction means that the strategic planning is meant to put the organization on a long-term direction and trajectory. So there are some critical decisions that have to be made. Underline the word made in a condition of uncertainty and a changing environment. But these directions have to sort of work as guardrails to make sure that the business is in the right direction. Then the scope of the organization's activities answers the question of why does the organization exist and what exactly does it do? We're going to understand after this webinar that most companies don't really understand what they do. It is not as simple as most people think it is, understanding what the organization actually does. But we're going to look at that on the next slide. And then the next one is the idea of strategies to achieve advantage. So what is it that is embedded in the genes of the organization that makes it achieve advantage? I know that if you're an accountant and you have your own firm, there's so many firms that are out there. I mean, there's some top 4 firms, there are some in the top 7, there are some in the top 10, there are some in the bottom tier. What is it that you do as a firm, as an organization, that is meant to help you achieve competitive advantage? And then obviously we're going to look at resource and competence configuration. This is where we are employing those scarce resources that we mentioned before that are supposed to then help us achieve that competitive advantage. Before we delve into the whole concept of business strategic planning, let's talk about strategic thinking. It is an incredibly important navigational tool when you are thinking about the future of your company. By identifying the purpose of your work, you can better understand the goals your company should be committed to accomplishing. Maybe let's just start thinking, making some thoughts about, I think you can answer on the comments box. What exactly does the organization do, or what purpose does it exist to serve? This is different from the methods that you use to achieve what you want to do. Most people understand the methods of achieving what they want to do more than they understand the actual purpose for which they exist. I'll give you an example. Do people need to have a bank, or people need banking? Someone just answer on the comments box. Do people need a bank, or people need banking? Can I just see some comments here on the comments box? What do you think, guys? Okay, someone is saying people need banking, not a bank. So if you're an organization in the financial services space and your job is to offer banking services, but you define yourself as a bank, then you're going to limit yourself to the 4 walls of the bank and miss on the idea that people don't actually need a bank. People need banking services. So those banking services can happen on a mobile phone, on a computer, they can happen anywhere. So if you stick to thinking that people need a bank, then you have a problem. Let's also think about it. Do people need a car, or people need transportation? If you're an organization that is in the business of providing transportation, these are the things that you should ask yourself. Do people need a shop, or do people need shopping? I'm glad that people are answering. It means people are paying attention. That's good. It's good to have a live audience. Thank you very much. So define the purpose of the business. These 3 examples are as simple as it can get. When you get to your business, you're going to identify what exactly people actually need. If you're an accountant, do people need an accountant, or people need accounting services? Then you're going to ask yourself, what exactly is accounting services? Do people need financial reports, or do people need financial analysis? So you've got to understand exactly what your organization is doing. And this helps you because, as you're going to see later on, there are some disruptive technologies that have come into spaces, and they have disrupted industries and companies in those industries that do not understand what need they're actually supposed to be servicing. So you have to answer your question, why does your organization actually exist? So these are 7 elements that I picked up from the internet of good strategic thinking. First of all, you must have a vision, then you must have focus. Then you must have, once we have focus, opportunities are sort of going to come around, but you've got to identify the opportunities that you have.
I hope that you enjoyed that video. For more of our webinar videos, go to www.accountingacademy.co.za. Thank you and have a lovely day.